I feel like it's only necessary to start off this episode by I hate doing this, apologizing to all Chiefs fans out there because you guys
Don't
have proved
apologize
me
for your
wrong all
take, AJ. Don't apologize.
they proved me wrong all year long. Um Especially in the second half there, they kind of just
Yeah.
dominated. But there's a but coming with this. And my but with this, and we all know what it is that holding in the fourth quarter with less than
Hmm.
2 minutes left. And I know they were already in field goal range, but it was third down. And my thing with the holding is before I hand it off to you, because I was pretty upset last night because not only did if there was any play in the game, if that was any type of play in the game, I could see, and I've watched tons of replays where that maybe was a little bit of a tug,
Yeah.
but I didn't see Juju's direction stop at all. I didn't see him like moved out of the way at all. I also
Yeah.
saw that ball thrown was, I thought, uncatchable anyway, even if he wasn't touched at
Yeah.
all. And then my biggest thing is the last 2 minutes of the game, and Jalen Hurts was shoving it down their throat the whole game.
Yeah. He played
I
incredible.
just He was unbelievable. I just think I hate having that call be the call that decides really what the Super Bowl is. And I know it's kind of like a what if those Eagles got it
Yeah.
back, but again, they were
At least it
shoving
would
the
have
whole
made the
game.
end of the game more exciting than in a super good game, and then it ends with like that, which is the smart thing to do, but still is really kind of boring.
And I know what is it, Bradbury that did it?
Yeah.
Is that correct? I know he said that he
Okay, that's another
tugged
thing I was
them.
mad. People from
Yeah.
Philadelphia are probably pissed because he admitted he was wrong. So now they can't just like that's their scapegoat. He held him.
Hmm.
So if I was Philadelphia, I'd cut him right away. See you, buddy.
Even again, I'm going to go back to that one point of I just hate that being the decide. It was a great game. It was back and
It was
forth,
really good back and forth.
but I hate deciding factor.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about it? I mean, would you have called it? Are you okay with the call?
I thought it was like there was a little there, but I didn't think it was that much.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't have called it.
It
Like if
just it
it
seems
just
like a
didn't seem
play.
as blatantly obvious as like
Yeah,
another call, like Eric could have been.
it seems like something that you could probably call at any point in the game.
Oh yeah, like offensive linemen. I've heard interviews. They say they are professional holders.
Yes, yes. And I think the thing that bugs me the most is why does it seem like every massive Chiefs game comes down to something where
Yeah,
there's some kind of controversy. There's no, it's almost like Patriot. They're getting to that
yeah,
Patriots level where it just seems
yeah.
like something's always up, and I
Like the
can't.
tuck rule. They got
Mhm.
just yeah. You're not wrong. But hey,
It's
getting
just
into a
always
championship, you got to have some luck involved too. Like you got to
yeah.
be one better, but still luck. And I would say honestly, I think the biggest part of the game why the Chiefs won is their offensive line was amazing. Didn't have no there was no holding calls for both teams. The Eagles defensive line that was supposed to be so godly and amazing, yeah, they sucked, which
Mhm.
they really didn't play that tough of a schedule. If you were my last episode, I was gonna dog on whoever lost because don't like either team. But yeah. And one thing bad for the Eagles is a lot of the players are getting older and retiring. Like I think Jason Kelsey is gonna be done. Fletcher Cox, I think, is getting up there. A lot of their mainstays are getting older, so that's great for me. Uh,
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts played incredible though. I do kind of feel bad for him though because if you look through his whole entire career, like freshman year of college, he took it to the national championship, played amazing, lost to Clemson. Better team though, but he played like incredible. Then the next year, got him all the way to the championship, then got benched. And the next year he was the backup, but then came in the SEC championship game and like won him that game, so they got to the playoff. And then he went to Oklahoma, played good, got second in the Heisman. So he's been like so close. He played incredible this game, but they lost. And he had that one fumble, which
Mhm.
Nick
That was
Bolton
big.
Mizzou made. Gotta shout out Mizzou. He played really good. Yeah, that was huge. I don't know how he dropped that, but yeah. Um, but yeah, the Chiefs played better overall. Thought that Butker, um, Doink was huge, but yeah, AJ, you're frozen again, buddy. Yeah, you frozen it, but we can just keep going. Can just cut it out.
No, yeah, I can adjust it too. I lost you too. Dang.
Or we could
Okay.
just keep it in there. I don't even care, honestly.
I can cut it out. If it was like 3 or 4 seconds, I would probably leave it. But if it was like 20 or 30, but I can where you want to hop back in.
We can just start talking right now. I'm honestly just gonna leave this in the recording, just us talking right now.
All right.
But no, I was just saying, just finishing off with Jalen Hurts, like he played really good, or Nick Bolton, that's who it was. He played amazing. I was like, I have no idea how Jalen Hurts lost that ball, but hey, Super Bowl hands get a little sweaty.
Yeah, seriously.
But I think what happened in that play is they were 3rd and 1. They're going to do their quarterback sneak, which is like unguardable. Then there was a false start, but yeah, it was a fun game. I will say probably the biggest storyline out of the whole game wasn't even the uh, like anything that was happening. It was the Tahoma 31 grass not going good for them.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, I don't know what Eagles player I saw afterwards saying it was the worst field he'd ever played on,
They spent
which
2
is
years working on this, $800,000 on the grass. Why not
wow.
just stick with old reliable? The old
Mhm.
just go out the front yard, grab some seeds out of wherever. Like
Yeah.
it's not that hard.
No, for me, the game was incredible until the end, which I'm still bitter about, like I mentioned. But I think the biggest storyline was halftime, right? Rihanna is
Mm.
back.
And she has a baby.
I
Baby
was
on
gonna say
board.
Rihanna plus one is back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of people were mentioning it, and I could I saw like a baby
Yeah.
bump there, but I didn't think much of it. I thought because she just had a kid a few months back or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she was just recovering still. But then her whatever it's called, representative or whatever,
Yeah.
said it was true. So yeah,
Good
but
for
no,
you,
I thought
Rihanna.
for now being pregnant and then coming off of birth and then also not performing in several
Oh,
years,
true,
because
yeah.
she was like almost at the top of the top of the arena,
Yeah,
top of the
that I thought
stadium.
the way it was like Super Smash Bros, but I thought the levels was kind of cool going up and down.
Yeah.
I like the halftime show. I kind of liked it because it was just like simple for once. It wasn't too crazy, you know what I mean? Like you could actually
Mm-hmm.
they just sang the songs instead of doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The
The little
dancers were kind of
marshmallow
weird
men
as they just like were
yeah.
dancing with their tongues sticking out the whole time, but
Yeah. Yeah, the little marshmallow men were kind of weird, but it can't be normal. It can't be normal. Of course not.
but I forgot how many
Uh,
songs like she had were hits. Like she kept singing songs. I'm like, I didn't even know that was her song.
I know. I know. Yeah, she just kept coming up with other ones. She reminds me, and I always get her and Sia confused because they sound
Really?
similar. Yeah,
I don't think
if
so.
you don't think so, well, maybe it's because there was a song. I don't remember what song it was, but they for years I guess I thought it was Rihanna, and I found out like 2 weeks ago it was Sia, and I was like, what the heck? I've been picturing Rihanna singing this for years. So I don't know. But well, one question I have for you is what was the Gatorade color? Because I couldn't figure that out.
Purple, I think.
Was it purple? Okay. Purple's kind
Not
of an odd
wood.
one.
Yeah, I agree.
Grape?
Yeah. It wouldn't be my
Uh,
first
uh,
choice.
no, I don't. No, I don't mess with grape. No. But no, I think Jalen Hurts he said something after the game of kind of that what every loser in the Super Bowl says of like, oh, we'll use this as motivation, that type of thing. Why did there's not much more he could do. Like he
Yeah,
kind of
he
did everything
carried
he could.
him.
It was
The
it was
defense
really
let
the
him down,
defense,
really. Yeah.
hmm
They
which was
couldn't get
something
to
they were
Mahomes
good
at
all
all,
year.
which was huge because if, like, I know he had his ankle and he looked like he can move around, like, good, but still, like, if you give Mahomes time in the pocket, he's going to carve you up.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there was just a couple plays from the secondary where I know Kelsey's like almost unguardable, but it almost just had like breakdowns almost, it seemed
I
like.
We had people over here, and I was like, I still don't know why teams just don't double team him. I would just double team him and be like, if Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney beat us, then congratulations. But I'm not letting him beat us.
hmm hmm You know, the reason I had them under 500 to begin the year was obviously the Tyreek. That was the biggest thing for me. It was Tyreek Hill
Mm-hmm.
not being there. But really, when you have a quarterback so good like Mahomes, you kind of just need like Tony, Sky Moore. Those guys aren't Tyreek Hill, but they're like lesser versions in a way. They're just
Yeah,
speedy.
they just get a bunch of fast guys. So like you can throw deep passes to them, and then if you don't have him open, you got Travis Kelce as a security blanket, or like Jerick McKinnon or Pacheco as a check down.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
it's and then when you get a lot of those
You
fast
know,
guys, it just causes a lot of confusion because you could do like a jet sweep, do swing passes. They could just break it
mhm.
open at any time.
You know what the dagger was for me was the punt return by
Yeah.
Tony. That was the one where I was like, I think it's over, and then the holding, but 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 yeah, that because they literally looked like the Eagles forgot to tackle. Like it literally,
Yeah, it was
they were
weird.
tripping
It
over
was
each
very
other.
slow developing too. I watched
Yeah,
an Eagles player block another Eagles player in the back.
yeah,
He like
yeah,
tackled it. I was like, what's
exactly.
going on?
I know. Yeah, that was the dagger. And when I forget off the top of my head, was that the drive at the very end?
That was their last drive, was punting it to him,
Okay.
I think.
Yes.
I don't
So
know, the second half was
that was
kind of a
the
blur.
it really was. And I know the Chiefs dominated, but yeah, it really was a blur. Jalen Hurts was making some throws though where I was like, I know he's known for his legs more,
Hmm.
but my goodness, man, he was throwing some dimes. A couple to
Yeah.
Goddard that were just like in
Yeah.
between, like right where it needed to be. I thought your call on AJ Brown was phenomenal. AJ Brown was dominant.
He's
My
so
call on Miles
strong.
Sanders. Miles Sanders was not dominant.
No.
That's for sure. Oh my
He had like the
goodness.
first carry of the game
Um,
and then you just didn't see him again.
I know. I
MIA.
know. Yeah, and then Gainwell got the touchdown, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, great!" At that point, I was like, "If the
That was
Eagles
the
win this,
first
no way, Miles
touchdown.
Sanders."
Yeah. So I wonder whoever bet him got great odds.
Yes. Did you see like the Boston Scott standing on the field watching the celebration
Yeah.
thing? The thing that everybody does every year.
Yeah. You got to. You're
I
like, all
saw,
right, you're a representative.
yeah, I saw somebody was like, Boston Scott thinks he's the main character. Like, come on now.
Get motivation for the Giants next year because he destroys
Yeah,
them.
seriously. Yeah, he's missing all year besides when the Giants
Yeah.
play him. But yeah, man, Super Bowl 57 did not disappoint until the holding call at the end. But
You're not gonna let that die.
but I'm not gonna let it die because the thing is, it's gonna be months of seeing this
Yeah.
though. They're gonna have the parade, and then we're gonna see clips from Kelsey at the parade for months on months, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, ah, it's brutal. It's brutal. It's like the Patriots back in the day. Whenever you
Yeah,
just
it
wanted
is.
to,
I do think
you
it's
just
funny though
weren't
that
good.
Kelsey took a play I've seen this everywhere, and so I'm just gonna copyright it. I don't care.
Mm.
Kelsey taking a play out of Kirby Smart's playbook and making them seem like they've been underdogs the whole season.
Oh my god.
Like Georgia, that was the best whenever they're playing TCU and everyone's like, we're the underdogs. And they're like, yeah, you've been favored the whole year. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
he said that. And so I was looking, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're one of the top favorites. They were, I think
Hmm.
at the beginning of the year, they were like third in the betting odds, which
Yeah.
is like your favorite because it was Bills. So it may have been the Rams to start out the season, probably. And then the Chiefs.
I think the Bucks were up there too. When
Yeah, the
because
Bucks.
it's funny that you mentioned this because right before you started talking, I was going to mention this as like my final point. I think Kelsey was just calling me out. I think that's pretty much what he was doing because I think
Oh,
I'm the
it
only
was so
person
annoying.
I think I'm the only person that really like. I take credit for the L here. I'm an L on this one for sure. But like they were like the third. I looked it up to make sure.
Yeah,
It
I
was like
did too. I'm looking it up
I
right
think it was
now.
Bills Bucks. I think I saw Bills Bucks them, but it could have been Rams. And I think the Bengals were up there too. But it's like if anything, the Eagles were not expected to be to be
No,
this
they
man.
weren't.
Like the
Um,
Eagles just I don't know.
okay, Pro Football Reference preseason odds. Oh my God, Houston Texans were Chiefs were third. It was Bills, Bucks, Chiefs, Rams. Wow, it's really funny looking at this now. Uh, Bills were one, Bucks, Chiefs, Rams were four, Packers. Those two teams didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Chargers, 49ers, Broncos, Ravens, Cowboys. At least we made it. Yeah, it shows their record for the year too, so that's really funny.
Wait,
The
did you say the
the Colts
Bengals?
had better odds than the Eagles.
Wow. Did you say the Bengals or were they further
Oh
down?
yeah, the Bengals were right after the Cowboys, like plus 2,000, which I think it's
They they gave the
I
Cowboys better odds than the Bengals.
Cowboys always get better odds.
That's interesting to me because the
It's
Bengals.
America's team. I think I looked at it. They already had the odds out for next year, and the Cowboys are like the same as the Bengals. I'm like,
Wow.
I don't know what people saw from Dak Prescott's performance, but to me, it
Yeah.
did not look like we have great odds. I just want to win
Yeah.
a playoff game,
Yeah. Hey, you got that. You
which I
got that.
guess we did. Yeah, we did.
Uh-huh.
So now I want to win two,
You,
then
you want to
three,
know another?
then
Yeah.
four.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, you mentioned how the Eagles are kind of getting older. I have an Eagles fan that was in I met at college, and so I want to shout out Nick Luciani. I think is how you pronounce his last name. But
It's a cool last name.
he's Canadian. He's from Toronto, and
Nice.
I met him in class. But he was him and I were talking after the game. He hates the Chiefs. First of all, I'd just like to make that known.
I feel like Philadelphia fans hate every team besides Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yes, they're the worst fan. And I think I saw this actually. This is a great phrase. I think I saw this in that movie that Adam Sandler did recently called Hustle
That was a good
with a
movie.
player. I have not
Bo
finished it.
Cruz. You haven't watched
I've
it?
only I haven't finished it. No, the thing is, Wancho is Bo Cruz, and he's a rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All I gotta
but
say is Anthony Edwards should be an actor. He's very good.
he's good. I got to that part. He is good. But I think it was Adam Sandler at the beginning said Philly fans are the best fans because they're so bad, or something along those lines. And that's so true because they're so passionate. And if you're from Philly, like you kind of have to respect it. And we've mentioned that on here before. But man, like they're
Crazy.
flipping cars and like I saw a
That
bunch
was a
of clips of
mistake.
that
They
already.
flipped a car before the game started.
Did you see? Did you see the Rockets player Jabari Smith? What he tweeted?
No.
He was he was in the hotel above them whenever they were flipping the car,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Can you guys keep it down? I have Joel Embiid tomorrow." I thought that
That's
was so
funny.
funny. But no, my guy Nick said you were mentioning how the Eagles are getting older. Offensively, they got some weapons to
Yeah,
build
offensively they're young.
around.
Defensively they're getting a little
Mhm,
older,
for sure.
I think.
You know, and Darius Slay was a guy that kind of was invisible last night. He didn't.
Or they just didn't throw to him.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
true.
as a corner, if your name doesn't get mentioned, that's good. That could either be
Yeah,
really good or you're really bad.
that's very true.
Well, if
And
you're doing
there
bad,
was
they'd
one.
mention you. So if you don't get mentioned, then you're probably doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there was one play for sure that I can remember. It was actually the Travis Kelsey touchdown, the fade route
Hmm.
into the corner, where Slay was actually guarding him, and they were talking about how
They,
that little
yeah,
movement.
because he was guarding
Yeah.
whoever was outside, and so they brought him in like just slightly in, and so they got on the Epps guy,
Hmm.
who, as you could tell, could not guard him. And then also the
Oh my
two
gosh.
plays, the identical plays they ran, just different sides, where I could have caught that and scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I think anyone in America could have.
Yes. Oh my gosh, man. It was just they. Oh, the one. I don't know who it was. It was one to the left side,
Sky
but
Moore's first touchdown of the year
yes, it must have been
of
that
his
because they
career.
brought they brought everybody on Mahomes pretty much.
Yeah.
Which I was like in that situation, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. I know you want to get pressure on him, but there was,
Yeah,
yeah, like you said, 2 touchdowns that just were wide open. And then is Edwards-Helaire just done? Like, how did he just like? I know he'd missed like the
I
last.
think he's hurt, but I think
Was he
he's
not?
done as their running back.
Was he not healthy last night?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I could, he popped off last year, I think it was, and then
He
this
was
whole
okay.
year,
He was okay.
maybe he just popped off because he was the number one back and he was getting the touches. I don't know.
He went to LSU.
I
Bust.
know. Yeah. But anything else on the Super Bowl, Zach?
What was your favorite commercial?
I didn't think they stood out as much this year. I
Mhm.
kind of liked the Jack Harlow triangle one. That one kind of made me
Yeah,
laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
I like
At
the
the
Will
beginning.
Ferrell one. I love Will Ferrell. That one made
Yes,
me laugh.
I
The
do.
the Tubi one where it yeah, that got me because I was
Dude,
using
I was like,
streaming.
who?
But
What?
if you
What
weren't using
dog is on the
streaming, you
remote?
would be like, what?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like the Bud Light one. Them dancing
With
while it was holding Miles Teller.
with yeah, Miles Teller. Yep, I did see that one. Yeah, they didn't stand out as much this year to me. They didn't
Yeah.
like,
A
but
lot of
that's not a bad
movies
thing.
though. Like right off the bat, it was like movie trailers like Guardian of the Galaxy 3. I'm like, okay, Indiana Jones, Fast and
Yeah.
Furious 30's coming out.
Are
Uh
you a Guardians of the Galaxy fan?
yeah, I like Marvel.
I am too. Sweet.
Are you
I,
actually?
the, I'm a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I'm not really
Just
a
Guardians, you don't
Marvel
watch all the
fan.
other Marvel ones?
I've watched some,
I've
but I'm
watched a
not like a
lot.
diehard. I bet you have. You're definitely a movie guy over me. That's for sure.
I'm not a huge movie guy, but I watch the ones I want. Like I watch the superhero ones or funny movies.
Yeah,
James Bond. That's about it.
yeah, yeah. I've always kind of gotten into the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a guy that likes humor in movies, and that that
Yeah,
that provides a little bit of humor. It's not
yeah.
just all serious.
Ooh, what about the
Yeah.
movie that I'm sure you won't go see because you're a hater? The one about Michael Jordan, the Nike one. That looks cool.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you?
What?
Like before the movie trailer, did you know that was coming out at all? I didn't hear anything
No, I
about it.
didn't. I didn't know any of those were coming.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, I am a hater, but yeah, I might see that actually. I think that'd be kind of interesting. I'm a historian of the game. I like knowing history, so I might have to go check that out. That's kind of an interesting and kind of a smart idea for a movie too. Kind
Yeah,
of have the history of the shoe and everything. So,
they got good
but
actors
yeah,
in it. So
they do. They very much do. Um, any really early preseason predictions for next year? Who's your Super Bowl winner?
hmm.
Before any moves are made or anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a couple bold ones. Obviously, everyone knows what I want to say, the Cowboys, but that won't happen.
Mhm.
I'm hoping. No, I think we're gonna win the division because the NFC East, no one has won back to back.
Okay. Okay.
So I think we're gonna get the division. Um, and then I'm gonna. This one's very bold. I think the Jags are gonna make it to the AFC Championship game.
Hmm. I like that. It's bold, but I like that. Off the top of my head, I'm leaning, and I'll probably
Are you
change
gonna
this
say the
by
Chargers? Everyone says the Chargers. They're not
no,
gonna. They're not.
no.
No.
I'm done. I'm done with the Chargers, man. But I'm leaning Bengals as my pick. Really early pick here. I think the Bengals are the team that I like.
49ers too. If they get
I want you're gonna say
like,
quarterback?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. Like if they get like well, when Aaron Rodgers comes out of that 4-day chamber or whatever, we'll see what decision he makes. But if they get someone like him, what about the Broncos?
no, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got. What would you grade the Super Bowl overall experience?
I thought it was a great Super Bowl.
Mhm,
Like the game. Like if I'm doing it out of hatred for both teams, like it was a great
mhm.
game. Besides the end, but
Yes,
it
exactly.
was good.
I'll give it a B plus maybe even.
B plus.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Besides that holding at the end, so we can
And
actually
the
move on
dance
to
in
some
it.
hockey. we can we can move on to some hockey here. We haven't talked hockey the last few weeks. But I feel like we kind of have to mention it because there was a major trade here in St. Louis, a mainstay for I want to say even 9, 10 years.
Mhm.
Let me think here. Yeah, it should be 11. I think he was drafted in 2010. Vladimir Tarasenko and Nico Mikkola moved to the New York Rangers, and we got a familiar face. Sammy Blais is back with the Blues. Won a Stanley Cup here in 2019 with us. And my question here is, I think there might be some more on the way. So we've talked about how great this draft is coming in here. Not
Mhm.
just Connor Bedard. There's a bunch of names that are really like star heavy, and we have like, believe it or not, we're 25, 26, and 3. We are 20, 24, 25, and 3, something like that.
Mhm.
We're one game under if you eliminate the overtime losses. We have like the seventh best odds for the first pick.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like,
Tank, tank, tank.
I know, like, it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to do that. I'm watching the game the other night. I think like there's 3 weeks until the trade deadline. This
Yeah.
next week and a half will kind of show what direction we're going in,
Yeah.
because we're down 2-0 to the Coyotes after the first period the other night, and I'm like, I told my dad, I'm like, yeah, this might be the turning point. Like if we lose like 5-0
Mhm.
tonight after a 12-day break, and to the Coyotes, this might be the turning point where you say, okay, we'll ship off O'Reilly, ship off these other names that we got,
Mhm.
Barbashev, Saad,
Just try to get
Atari.
younger.
But then we scored 5 straight goals, and we're up 5-2 now. And then we gave up 3. So now it's 5-5, and then we won in overtime with O'Reilly. So now I'm like torn. I'm like, if we make the playoffs, we're gonna get booted in the first round. So
Yeah.
it's, and you don't want that. I've said this before. You don't want that middle pick. You don't want that
Mhm.
16th overall pick. But it'd be something if we somehow got Connor Bedard. Like that's
That'd
a
be
realistic
sick.
thing.
That'd be
That's
cool.
like a realistic thing. But Tarasenko in his first game with the Rangers scored. I don't know if you saw that.
Hey, Sammy Blais scored too, so
Sammy Blais actually scored a nasty goal. Not gonna lie. But Tarasenko has always wanted to play with this player, Temi Panarin, this
mhm.
little small Russian guy for the Rangers, and he's on the, Tarasenko's in a pretty amazing spot over there. They have a really good
Mhm.
team. They have a really good line he's playing on. Panarin the other night had 4 goals and an assist versus the
It's
Hurricane.
crazy.
Um, and then of course I feel like we have to mention, arguably now already, he's getting up there with the best player of all time, Connor McDavid. He's on a 15-game point streak right now. He has 97 points already. He's almost at the 100-point mark with 30 plus games left in the season, which is
You could put up a
pretty
Wayne
insane.
Gretzky
Yeah,
season.
I know. With goalie pads being bigger,
Yeah.
guys more athletic. McDavid's one of those guys. I was just kind of scrolling through my channels the other night, and I was like, yeah, I'll turn on the Oilers because they're kind of, even though they're always disappointing, even though they've had a good year, they always disappoint. There's like,
Mhm.
they're kind of must watch TV because you never know what he can do. Dude, I had the game on for 3 minutes, and he had arguably he had an assist on the play, but it was like a top 3 play of the season, and I posted it on our
I think
story.
I saw it. Yeah, it was
he
crazy.
was on the he was on the penalty kill, and he forechecked
Yeah.
the guy, lifted his stick, stole it, had him on his back, and then like passed it behind his back to the guy coming in. It's like, I had the game on for 2 minutes, and like he was making something like that happen. It's ridiculous.
I think we should
But
trade a bunch of our guys and then trade all those first round picks we get for McDavid just for the entertainment value.
so, yeah, so it can be the next Oilers and just
Yeah.
get
Are
booted
the
out in the
Oilers
playoffs every
in the
year.
playoffs right now? Like if it ended
Yeah,
today.
they've had a really good year actually.
So they could
Um,
make a run maybe.
Definitely, it all comes down to goaltending. It all
Yeah.
comes down to that and defense when it comes to playoff
And
time.
that's what they
But
don't
especially,
have.
exactly, and they never have it. So without the McDavid joke, there, are you leaning more towards just kind of caving in on the year and kind of trading off some guys, and
Hmm. I don't
not a
know.
rebuild, but kind of a refresh?
Yeah. I'm not a big person of like trading your star guy.
Hmm.
Like Tarasenko asked for a trade, so that's kind of different. He was like
And
unhappy.
he was a UFA at the end of the year
Yeah.
anyway. He was probably gone.
But I just think I don't think I don't Train O'Reilly's like the captain too. I don't think so. I think you just play competitive and see what happens. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
Hmm. It's so, we're literally in a real, like, I can't understate it, or however I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say this right now. I have to make the point across. We're in like a really tough position as an organization because O'Reilly said he wants to be here, and so I've thought about like what the Cubs are trying to do with Rizzo, and I mentioned this maybe a couple episodes ago, letting him go, getting a couple of draft picks or whatever prospects, whatever, and then getting him back in the off season,
Yeah.
that type of thing. If he wants to be here, trade him to Vegas or something like that, or Toronto, and then he can come back. But at the same time, in the second half of the second period, and then halfway through the third period, we looked like a playoff team. We were, I mean, it's the Coyotes, but still we were dominating. We looked so good, and then we gave up 3 straight goals, and it wasn't like even Bennington's fault. Like one
Mm-hmm.
one went off, Parayko's skating the net, and it's just like I don't know. We have those stretches where we don't look like a hockey team. It's
Yeah.
just it's tough, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards kind of play it out. But at the same time, you and I have mentioned this. You don't want to let UFAs go for nothing in the off
Yeah.
season. You have to be pretty sure you sign them back, because that's pretty bad. Especially if you don't make the playoffs, you get like a 15th overall pick, and you let your guys go. Yeah, it's kind of the lose situation there. Um, but yeah, the trade deadline's in I guess 2.5 weeks now. The NBA trade deadline did happen,
Mm.
and there was a lot of moves like every year. But the blockbuster one that caught me by surprise, not only the Kyrie move, but was the Kevin Durant to the Suns,
Mm-hmm.
which on paper looks really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think the Suns are like, and I think they're gonna sign Terrence Ross too.
I saw that. Yeah, and they even mentioned Carmelo, and I know Carmelo brings no defensive value. He can
Does he
stroke
bring
it
any
though.
value?
Some off the bench scoring, and then
Yeah.
a minus 12 on the court.
3 and no D.
Yeah. That's definitely true. But no, I mean Kevin Durant has not played a game yet. He's still, I think, recovering from an injury
Mm-hmm.
anyway. But I will say, if Chris Paul cannot win a ring with this team,
Yeah, for real.
he's never getting one, dude.
Yeah.
This is his last chance.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
no,
But like
KD,
when
Booker.
Kyrie got traded, I went on and played 2K and I played as the Nets because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fun. KD's gonna be just like the actual score, and I'm like, this team's kind of fun. They had like Seth Curry, Dinwiddie,
Mhm,
Claxton, T.J. Warren, which the Suns got T.J. Warren, which is still
yeah.
good under the good pickup. He can drop 20.
Yes.
But I was playing with him and I saw KD got traded and I was like, oh, it's Ben Simmons'
You
team
know,
now.
I will say Ben Simmons team. I will say Kyrie and KD going. Obviously, like the Nets understand that those are their two best players.
Hmm.
But I've watched the Nets play these last couple games without them, and they have some guys that's like you and I both really like Mikal Bridges.
Hmm.
That dude is like, I don't know. They just have that. There was a couple years ago when the Nets were they had no superstars and they made it to the playoffs. Do you remember this?
I
And
think
they had
so,
like the,
yeah.
the the bench mafia, and they were like going crazy, all
Oh
dancing all the
yeah.
time and all that stuff. D'Angelo Russell was like their star. They kind of have that now, where like
Hmm.
Dinwiddie's they have a bunch of good players, but they don't have a
Yeah.
star. Where I don't think they're going to go deep in the postseason, but I think they get in and
Yeah.
make some noise. But how often do you see a fourth seed in any league trade off your two superstars? When do
Yeah.
you ever see that happen?
They're probably just like, we're just tired of all this drama. So they get 4 first round picks and just,
Yes,
which is huge. Like I think the Nets are set up pretty good. The
they
weird thing
are.
is they were playing really good too.
I know they were on a tear, and if we kept saying if Kyrie and KD are there and playing,
Hmm.
they have role players that feel like they look like a
Like good.
championship roster.
Cam Thomas is like dropped 40 the other night.
Yeah.
Nicholas Claxton's turned into like a low key, like one of the best centers. I'll say it.
Mhm.
Like not like
Especially
scoring
defensively.
wise, but defensively and just like a Jared Allen kind of guy who they had.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
losing TJ Warren was big. I think that's a great like you said, that's a great pickup
Yeah.
for the Suns.
And then Terrence Ross is
Um,
huge too because depth and he can just drop. He's a guy who can drop like 30 out of nowhere.
the only reason why the Suns won't win it all is your logic of defense, because I don't see a lot of defensive
Mm-hmm.
player. Like Terrence Ross is a scorer, TJ Warren's a scorer. KD can defend, but he's
KD's
not
actually
known
low
for that.
key not bad at defender because he's so long. But like Devin
Exactly.
Booker, no. Chris Paul does play defense. Like he can steal, but
Mm-hmm.
he's like 37, 38.
37, 38. Mm-hmm.
But
And then I think we haven't even mentioned this guy yet. He's the biggest piece of the puzzle for me, DeAndre Ayton.
forgot about him.
He had he had 2 rebounds the other night. He had 2 rebounds in 34 minutes.
Nice.
Like that's another thing where it's like
Didn't they sign
KD's
him
gonna
this
grab
off
you.
season?
Yeah, they did.
So it's like it's one of those where after they make the money, they kind of just they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I made the money, can just relax now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Kevin Durant's gonna grab you 6 or 7 rebounds. But Aiton's got to grab him. And another guy's Cam. They let Cam Johnson go,
Yeah.
which is a scorer or a great shooter. They lost Mikal Bridges. That was their defensive anchor.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough situation. I think they're going to be. They have to be the favorites still, right? Like they kind of
Yeah.
have to be. Like I hate saying it, but you can't really deny that. Like, would you take the Suns what they have over like Jokic and the Nuggets or Giannis and the
Mm,
Bucks?
I'd take him over the Nuggets.
Would you take Giannis and the Bucks over KD and the Suns
Yeah.
just because of
Giannis is my
experience?
boy, and I like Giannis. I don't know. I just think their team, I don't know. They just play well
When
together.
they're yeah, when Middleton's right, it's scary. And I mean,
Hmm.
Drew Holiday. I don't think I've ever seen Drew Holiday miss a step back three. I think he makes it every single time. I need to look up some stats on that, but from what I've been watching, he's pretty much automatic. What other big trades happened though? Obviously, the
Uh,
Kyrie and KD. There was a lot of little ones.
yeah.
Um, for my, I'm wearing the jersey right now. The big storyline for the Raptors is
They didn't do
we
anything.
kept everyone,
Yeah.
which I kind of
I
like,
guess
but
the 4-team trade that may happen or may not with Gary
Gary Payton,
Payton said Sadiq Bey going to Atlanta and then James Wiseman going to the Pistons, which I hope it does because I think the Pistons are fun.
yeah,
Because Jalen Duren's been playing crazy. He had like
mm-hmm,
20 some plus rebounds the other night
mm-hmm.
and like 30 points.
Yep. And they're missing Cade Cunningham, and the direction they're going, it looks like they might be in the front running for Victor Wembanyama as well.
Their
So
team's fun.
very fun, very fun. Have you seen any like courtside film of Victor Wembanyama? Because then
I've
you
just
can
seen
understand like
videos of how tall, big he is. And he shoots
when
those
you see like
one-legged threes that kind of annoy me.
yeah, when you see a courtside video of him, and he actually even posted a video of like a camera like on his forehead or like one of
Hmm.
those things where it showed like Victor Wembanyama shooting a free throw. It's insane. Like you actually can realize how big this guy is.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. Like literally the free throw he shot was like it looked like he was head to head with the rim. It looked like one of those Nerf rims that you and I dunk
Yeah.
on. It looked like that. It's
That's
pretty
funny.
good. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that really happened. I think the Raptors keeping everybody kind of shows that they still want to compete this year and kind of
Yeah.
do something, which I like the idea of because I didn't want to see Freddie go. I thought OG would be the guy to go. I
Hmm.
heard the Warriors were in the running for him, the Mavericks were in the running for him.
That would have been fun
What
with
do
the
you think about
Mavericks.
what do you think about the Mavericks? Because you get Kyrie, but you lose Dorian Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie, a couple role pieces.
I think it's an upgrade. They did give a lot of. They gave one first round pick to him, which I thought
I think it was
was.
one. Yeah.
But I think that was a good trade for the Mavs. Might as well see if you can win something. See if Kyrie fits or not. A little test run.
Mhm.
If
Luca, I
not,
mean, Luca's got a superstar now
yeah.
to play with.
I do hate
Um,
how like their first debut, they both they both shot like 50%. And I saw it was like NBA, they both showed out during their debut. They look at the box when they lost. I'm like, why? I don't care if they lost.
yeah. No, they that might that's one of those situations, and I think I mentioned it like I might have told you this. Westbrook and Harden. I want to
Mhm.
see I want to see they might have to get some chemistry because those are both
Yeah.
ball dominant guys. Which I think Kyrie's more of a he can spot up and shoot if he needs to be and move off the ball. But
Mhm.
Luka's definitely a guy that needs the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
But obviously Kyrie's like the best ISO player ever. So
Yeah.
might take some time to get used to that for sure. And then obviously if you're a Mavs fan, I understand being excited. We also have to have that like back of your head worry
Yeah.
of like,
Scared.
is he gonna go MIA randomly?
Yeah.
But Russell Westbrook is still kind of out there. He's going to be bought out by the Jazz
Mhm.
for sure, if he hasn't already. But I heard the Clippers are a number one option for him, reuniting with PG, and the Miami Heat are the other option. I think Clippers would probably be a better fit for him
He would fit the Miami Heat though, their style.
as a starting. You think as a starter or coming off the bench?
Maybe just a hard worker guy.
Yeah, I think he was kind of thriving in his role off the bench for the Lakers.
Mhm.
And I think that might be a good fit if he's going to go to Miami. I know you have Kyle Lowry, who's older, Tyler Hero, but that might be a good fit coming off the bench as like you said, that
Yeah.
energy guy that just kind of provides whatever they need, which is kind of sad in a sense because
Mhm.
he's kind of he put up some really good numbers these last 2 months with the Lakers. It was just a
Mhm.
really spastic and just like out. I mean, it's just how he plays. It's always how he's
Yeah.
played, but kind of out of control. And I personally love what the Lakers did.
Yeah.
I like we needed shooting. That's what we needed more than anything. We were awful at 3-point shooting all year, and
Mhm.
they played the other night actually. D'Lo, do you know much about Jared Vanderbilt?
No, but I know he's rated pretty good on 2K.
Dude, he's you would love. He's like a defensive energy guy,
But I
dude. He's
can't.
what. Yeah, that's true. You have to hate him now. But them two, Malik Beasley, the Lakers got Mo Bamba, which is a big piece there, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for depth at the big position. So yeah, I'm kind of liking that. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that happened that was really worth discussing. But yeah, obviously KD and Kyrie were the big ones that
Mhm.
kind of stole the news. But speaking of stealing all the news, there was another major deal in the MLB. Alex Reyes is a Dodger. Which did that surprise you at all? Because it surprised
um,
me that nobody was talking about him at all.
yeah, it did surprise me, but um, like a guy who has not had a whole season put together a whole season his entire careers,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people were staying away from it, but they made it very incentivized. So if he does certain things, his contract can be bumped up to a lot of millions of dollars. But they've picked up quite a few guys who haven't been good in a while, like Shelby Miller, Noah Syndergaard, Alex Reyes. So
Mm.
I don't know if Alex Reyes will be back. He's had so many issues with his arm that I feel like after so many of those, I just don't think you're going to be the same. But it's sad because I remember watching his first career start in Milwaukee, and I was like, this guy looks exciting. And then he
Yes.
got hurt, and then he punched a wall at some point. I'm pretty sure broke his hand. Then
Mhm.
yeah, just one thing after another.
He had some weed problems there for a while. I know he was caught
Nice.
smoking the ganja. Um, but the Dodgers have the superstars, even though they lost Trey Turner with Freddie and Mookie. But I kind of like, I hate saying this as
I don't
a
think the
Dodger
Dodgers are gonna be
hater.
that great, as good as they were last year.
That's interesting because I was gonna say I kind of like what they're doing.
No, I think they're not going to be nearly as good as last year. They lost Trey Turner.
I think, yeah, Trey
All their
Turner's
starting
obviously
pitchers
massive.
don't pitch late, far in games, and they all get hurt.
Pitching's the one spot where I think Walker Bueller's still going to miss a lot of this year,
Hmm.
so he's a
He's missing
guy.
the whole
But
year, I think.
is it the whole year? Man, that sucks because he's a fun pitcher to watch. But they got David Peralta in the
Yeah.
outfield. I've always liked David Peralta. Even he's older and he's not a superstar by any means. But JD Martinez can rake. He's going to be their DH.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Trey Turner is a big loss though. it's a pretty massive loss actually, because you're gonna probably put Gavin Lux over there, and that's
Yeah.
Gavin's solid, but he's not a superstar by any means.
Not a
So
top 10 second baseman or shortstop in my book.
no, but that's a pretty good transition right there. We do have our top 10 second baseman and shortstops. I guess there was one more deal I had to mention. Marlins traded for AJ Puck. AJ Puck was a top 10 overall pick um, for the A's, lefty out of Florida.
Well, they
So
traded JJ
7'8".
Bleday, who was a top 10 pick.
Ooh, that's true.
They're both guys
That's
who
true.
have not lived up to the hype at all.
Mm-hmm. Marlins are doing something interesting though. You think the Marlins are a little more competitive
Yeah, I'd
this
say so.
upcoming year?
A little fun.
I think so too. Yeah. But no, we have our top 10 second baseman and shortstop. I guess we can start with second base. Zach, you want to get us started?
Yeah, sorry. Uh, 42 minutes ago, the Cardinals agreed to extend John Mozeliak for a 2-year deal into 2025.
Okay, breaking
Breaking
news
news.
here. How do you feel about it?
Like, he's been doing good for us, but
Uh,
like I wish we would address the elephant in the room that we need starting pitching help, but it's fine.
mhm.
We'll just
You know,
let's just focus on this second baseman.
okay.
Pitchers and catchers did report today, so that was good. But
Mhm,
get
mhm.
back on topic.
Okay.
So I'll do an honorable mention. Um, Colton Wong. Yeah, did not make my list. Never really a fan of Colton Wong. Also, another guy who I think you had on your list that, after looking at his stats, not that impressive, and that is Ozzy Albies is not on my
You know,
list.
the MLB shredder, which we obviously agree we dislike. They didn't have him on there. I don't think either. If they did, it was really low. And then
He really hasn't. Like, he had that great
then
year in 2021. He was MVP 13, and then I look at his defense is like, wait, where's it at? It's not bad. It's like not amazing, but his WAR, like wins above replacement, is kind of not great. It
yeah.
was like 3.4 that year, but I don't know. He just hasn't. He's been on a downward trajectory these last few years. I've always kind of liked him, so I hope he picks it up. He was injured a lot last year, but he just does not get on base. The OPB on base percentage is just, come on. Colton Wong, great defender. He's just getting kind of old. I just think
Mhm.
he's just getting old, but I think it'll be good for the Mariners. Number 10, Nico Horner. He played shortstop last year, but he's moving over to second base. I put him there because he's a really good defender. His offense was solid, like batted 281, 320, 327 on base. Like, pretty good production for a second baseman. As once you start reading through these, second base is not a strong position at all. Very top heavy. But he's a really good defenseman. I think he could possibly win Gold Glove at second this year because he had 11 defensive runs saved last year at shortstop. So not gonna have to range as much, not throw as far. But yeah, he's my number 10.
I think the Cubs are in a pretty good spot personally when it comes to middle infield, especially defensively.
Yeah.
Dansby has good range.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my number 10 was the former Cardinal and now Seattle Mariner, Colton Wong, and he had a really poor defensive year last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been kind of bad ever since he left us.
He has, yeah, he did have a little bit of a power surge, 15 homers. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but for him,
Mm-hmm.
that was, I guess, his career high. Yeah, it was 15 homers, 47 RBIs, about a 251. Um, I think I'm gonna have him on here because I think he's gonna fit the Seattle mold of just like fun, energized. Colton Long was always kind of
Yeah.
that guy that was kind of an energizer bunny almost, and I think he's gonna fit there. I think he's gonna love being a Mariner personally. Just kind of fit that whole youth. He's kind of the veteran now. He's 32,
Mm-hmm.
but he's kind of gonna fit that youth movement over there. And he's had experience with winning, so I think he's gonna fit well over there. And I think he's gonna. You said he's getting older, and I agree. I think he's regressing.
Yeah.
Um, but I also think he will have a better year defensively than what he had last year.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
so yeah, I have Colton Wong at my number 10 spot. Still a fan of him.
Yeah. So my number 9's a guy who I really like, who had a really good year a couple years ago, but this past year he played most of the season, but it wasn't up to his standards. And then a couple years before, he was kind of hurt, didn't play the whole season, but played good, and that is Ketel Marte. But I think he's going to bounce back this year. I really do. For a Diamondbacks team that's kind of fun. I had him kind of low just because he didn't play great last year. Only batted 240 in 137 games, 321 on base. He had 42 doubles though, which is a lot. He didn't have that power or batting average he usually had, but I think maybe this full season or full off season after 2021, he was kind of hurt. He played good that year. So I think hopefully he gets back on track. I've always liked him. He's not a great defender, but if he plays good, the Diamondbacks are a low-key, very fun team this year.
Definitely.
Oh, wait. I had the
And you,
WRC Plus. Completely forgot. His WRC
oh
Plus
yeah, yeah.
was 102. It was not great last year.
Mhm.
And Nico Horner's was 106.
Okay. Yeah. So I know
Colt
you've always
Long's
kind of
for you
bragged.
was 117. Just,
Let's go.
I got you.
You you've always kind of been a low key Ketel Marte fan. You've talked
When
highly
he
about
was
him for
really
years.
good, I wanted the Cardinals to trade for him because he can play. I was like, he can play center, second. He's a
Mhm.
switch hitter. But
Yeah.
yeah.
My number 9 is the New York Yankees second baseman Gleyber Torres, and he had that kind of popped on the scene with 24 homers, 77 RBIs, 38 homers, 90 RBIs in 2018 and 2019. Had a really rough COVID year, 3 homers. Had a pretty poor 2021, 9 homers. Then he had a
Mm-hmm.
really good year this last year, 24 homers, 76 RBIs, 257. On base percentage was not very good, 310. But he had a 4.1 WAR, which is pretty solid. And I also
Yeah.
think New York is very passionate, as we know, and can be hard on their players. And I think
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of overhated almost in New
Yeah.
York, because I think he is a top 10 second baseman in baseball, and he's only 25 still.
Yeah, it's
So we gotta
crazy.
let him kind of it feels like he's been here a while, but I feel like you kind of got to let him continue to grow and learn,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to have another really good season.
Yeah, so he's my number 8. Played really good, 24 homers, 76 RBIs, batting average, as you said, all those things. But one thing that I did notice is his defense improved this year. He had 9
Mm-hmm.
defense runs saved, which every other year he had negative. So that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I'm interested to see if he can have another good year because last time he had a really good year, he kind of fell off as he had 38 home runs and he kind of was down the last years, but also like COVID was in there. So we'll see how he does next year. Hope like his on base percentage was the lowest it's been in his career. So I wonder if that's going to be kind of a focus to be more selective in pitching and not just be the 3 outcome guy of strikeout, home run, or walk,
Mm-hmm.
which he didn't walk
Yeah.
that much.
My number 8 was a guy we had really, really high on our list last year. Brandon Lau. He had a really injury prone season this last year, only 65 games played. The year before, though, had 39 homers and 99 RBIs, which is pretty remarkable out of a second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Had only 8 homers and 25 RBIs this year, though. Batted 210, 221. Had a
Mm-hmm.
one, had a WAR of 1. So not a good
65
season for Brandon
games.
Lau. Exactly. Only 65 games played. I think he's going to bounce back, and he's 28 years old, so he's not like in his 30s or anything like that. He's still in the middle of his prime here. I think he's bound to bounce back. And again, this is based on 2023, not what
Mm-hmm.
2022 was. So that's why I'm kind of looking for him to bounce back here.
All right, this next guy, my number 7. Yeah, another guy where he had a down year last year, and these guys were hard for me to compare to Gleyber Torres, who was good last year, than these guys who've been down and then better in the past, and that's Jorge Polanco from the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he batted 235, 346 on base, 16 homers, 56 RBIs. But the year before that, he had 33 homers, 98 RBIs, 269. I think he was injured. He only played 104 games, but I think he's gonna have a better year this year. Um, get his average up a little bit and probably get at least 20 home runs. But I don't think he's the best defense. I think he's just like solid. Like he had -1 defense run saved, which that's not good, but it's not terrible.
Mhm.
But I think he's going to be solid. He's a solid second baseman. I think any team would want to have him.
My number 7 is your
Ooh,
guy,
wait,
Ketel Marte.
119.
Okay. My number 7 is your guy, Ketel Marte.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a great year last year, like you said, but that's pretty much like all the second basemen. Is the catcher's list better than our second baseman list?
Low key, I think so.
That's crazy. But no, Ketel Marte is a guy that in 2021 batted 318 and 90 games played. That's why we kind of put him higher on our list last year,
Hmm.
especially in what year was that? 2019 had 32 homers and 90 RBIs. He is let me find it here. He's 29 years old, so kind of in the same spot Brandon Lau is at. And I think batting 240 last year. I think he's gonna. I don't know. I'd take him over the other guys. He's
Yeah.
more proven than a guy like Brandon Lau, who had a tremendous 1 year in Tampa. So I think Ketel's going to bounce back. And like you said, that's an exciting Diamondbacks team, low key. Like
Hmm.
they got some young talent.
So my number 6 is Brendan Donovan. Uh, Utility Gold Glove guy. He had 4.1 WAR. He played only 126 games. Batted 281, 394 on base percentage. I'm pretty sure I saw something else where he was in like the top percentile in uh or the lowest percentile in chase rate, and then like the highest in like something good with he has a good batting eye basically.
Mhm.
But his on base percentage is amazing. He had 45 RBIs, 5 homers, 281, great Gold Glove. He played the most games he played at was second base, 38, and I think he'll play there probably the most this year. He actually his best defensive position was third base, which is actually kind of funny. But
Hmm.
yeah, he played every position except center field and pitcher and catcher. Um, but I think he's going to improve. Like just his batting eye, I think is just I don't know. I don't feel like you can teach that as much. Sometimes I just think that's kind of a gift. And I think he's going to have a really good year this year. He may play second. He could still play all over the place because we got Gorman there too. But I think he's going to have a really good year.
Yeah. I hope he makes. I hope he makes my list next year here. But
Yeah.
my number 6 is Ozzy Albies, and I think he's just bound to bounce back. In
Hmm.
2021, he had 30 homers, 106 RBIs, batted 260. And like you said, he's not a good on base guy for sure, but he's got crazy pop. Had 189 hits in 2019. Had a down, not really a down COVID year. He batted 271. The power wasn't there, but every year he's been fully healthy. He's had 20 plus homers. His career average is 271. I think I think he's if he's healthy, which he should be by opening day. I'm gonna bet on him bouncing back this year.
Yeah, I think he'll have a good year. My number 5 is the guy you had, and that's Brandon Lau. I
Hmm.
think last year, I think he's going to bounce back. Like last year, he was hurt all the time, and then the 2 previous years, he was top 10 MVP voting. So I think he's going to have a good year, um, and be very like productive for the Rays because they really need him. He's like their best hitter. His defense is okay, not great, just average.
Hmm.
But I looked up WRC plus and I looked up his from 2021 because last year I like didn't really count, and he had a 137 WRC plus in 2021. Brendan Donovan's, forgot to mention, it was 129, which is pretty high.
Is
Yeah,
that
I'm
all you
done.
got for him?
Yeah.
My number 5 is Jorge Polanco, and another guy I feel like you low key like. You talk pretty highly of him those
I
last
like
two
him. Yeah.
times. Did have a down year last year, like you said, batting 235, but he's still young enough for that Twins team, and I think he's going to have a good year there at second base for them. He had a really what was that one? Didn't 1 year he have a really big power year? Isn't that correct?
Uh,
Didn't he have 1 year where he had like
yeah,
big time power?
he had like 30 some homers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In Minnesota, which is pretty impressive. So him and him and Carlos Correa will be a good duo over there for sure.
Yeah, for real. My number 4 is Marcus Simeon. He had that
Ooh.
amazing year in 2021. Top 3 in MVP voting, Gold Glove. Uh, this year, this past year was kind of a down year, but he's still, one thing I like is he played 161 games. The year before he played all 162. And then the year before that was COVID. Then the year before that he played 162. Then the year before that 159. So he's super durable, doesn't get hurt really. But he had 26 homers, 83 RBIs, 248, 304 on base. Um, I think a lot of that is you signed a huge contract with uh, a team. So a lot of times those first years the player doesn't perform as well, just the high expectations. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. He is getting older. His defense is still really good. He had 13 defense runs saved, had a defensive WAR of like 1, which is pretty good when I've been looking at comparing them all. So he's getting paid like 25 million a year. So let's see if he can get back to that like MVP season.
Yeah. No, so my number 4 was
And
Jeff
wait, I already
McNeil.
forgot. His WRC plus was kind of crappy, 107. But
Okay. Yeah, so my number 4 was Jeff McNeil, who won the batting title last year for the New York Mets. They call him the Squirrel. He's kind of crazy over there, but he's definitely from what I've seen, plus defensively there at second base, and played some outfield too, if I remember correctly, of his past few years.
yeah,
But no, he won the batting title last year, and he just continues to improve. One thing with Jeff McNeil that for some reason is always stuck in my mind is he does that little that knob of his bat is
hmm
flat. You know, like the has been really kind of
yeah,
a trendy thing in baseball. He was one of those first guys that I saw do that, and like gets through the zone quicker, that
yeah,
type of thing. He was one of the first guys I saw have that. But no, he had a tremendous year last year. And do I think he's going to win the batting title this year? No, but I also think he definitely could because he's kind of that type of guy that's
yeah,
scrappy, not a power guy by any means, but a guy that gets on base and then kind of your type of guy, even though he's a
yeah.
Met,
I
kind of
do
pushes the
like him.
ball all over the field.
Yeah, he was my number 3. You kind of said it perfect. He had a 5.7 WAR, super good. Batting towel 326, high on base, obviously. Not big power guy, but 9 home runs, 62 RBIs, just like just a beast hitting the ball. He's solid defensively and just kind of does it all. His WRC plus was 143, which is the second out of the second baseman. Um, yeah, I think he's gonna have another good year. I do think one thing is his defense is probably gonna slowly start to diminish as he's getting older. But if he can put like positive defense run save, which he has done pretty much his whole career, like I think any team would love him for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. What was his WRC plus? You said 140?
143.
That's pretty solid, man. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my number 3 is arguably your favorite player in baseball, Andres Jimenez.
Yeah.
Jimenez, 17 homers, 69 RBIs, batted 297, 20 stolen bases in his first full season in baseball. He played
371 on base too.
technically
Just letting you know.
technically a full season in the COVID year, but we're not really counting that. It was 49 games. He played 146 games last year. Plus defensively,
Won the
gets on
Gold
base.
Glove.
He won the Gold Glove. Sixth in MVP voting, was an All
Mm-hmm.
Star. He is 24. Yeah, 24, going
Mm-hmm.
on 25. So he's in a spot to
Mm-hmm.
pop off again this year.
Yeah, he's my number 2. I was this close to putting him number 1. I was very close because his WAR is like 7, uh, which is higher than Jose Altuve's. But Jose Altuve had a really like one of his best years ever. But top 10 MVP voting in like first year.
Mhm.
I hope he has another solid year because he's really good. I think he could have a 2020 season for sure. Get a little more homers, and then his defense is ridiculous, as you were saying. 16 defense runs saved, which is I think the highest out of the second baseman, which that's probably why he's the Gold Glove. But yeah, one of my favorite players, and I think he's going to be a stud for years to come.
My number 2 is Marcus Semien, and Marcus last year batted 248, and like you said, it was his first year in Texas. It's a new contract. He got paid a lot of money. We saw it with Goldie even. here in St. Louis. Like it's hard to kind of just like pop off in that first year. And he
Mhm.
was coming off a year where in Toronto he had 45 homers and 102 RBIs, which I think was the most homers out of a second baseman ever, or top
Probably,
three
yeah.
ever. Which it's kind of hard to, when those expectations are on you to do that, to live up to those. That's
Mhm.
pretty much setting the bar super high. He ended up batting 248, like I said, with 26 homers. But that was coming off of an a awful start to the season. An absolute,
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember that at all. Absolutely awful
Yeah.
start to the season. But talk about durability. Played every game in 2021, missed only one game last year. Played every game in 2019, only missed 3 games in 2018, only missed 3 games in 2016, and his defense has improved
Mhm.
from I've mentioned it several times
It was
throughout our
dreadful.
episodes here. Awful at shortstop for Oakland, like 30 plus errors, awful. And he's at second base, doesn't have that same range he has to go through. So yeah, he is 30, going on 32 here, which I think we might see a regression, but
Yeah.
I think he'll bat better than 248. He's still got speed. He, for even having a down year technically last year
Mhm.
overall, had a 5.9 WAR, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So he's my number two. I wonder who your number one's going to be.
Yeah. Gavin Lux. No. Jose Altuve. Just by far the best second baseman for many years. Just put up another crazy good year. Batted 300, 387 on base, 28 homers, 57 RBIs. I think his RBIs are down because he bats leadoff still. I think. Top five in MVP voting. Just super reliable, like ridiculous. He had a 160 OPS plus, which I think was his highest in his career. He had a 164 WRC plus, which is really that's close to like Goldschmidt's, and he hit like didn't even get close to 100 RBIs. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, if he put together another good year, and if he keeps putting good years, he could get in the Hall of Fame. I'll say it.
I can agree with that. Um, so yeah, shocker to everybody. Jose Altuve was also my number one. And like you said, RBI's down because he bats at the top, top of the lineup. He had 28 homers though, and what's kind of surprising me is that Marcus Semien. Now I'm looking to compare them. Marcus
Hmm.
Semien had a one. He had a whole WAR, one WAR better than I don't know how you word that. He had a +1 WAR when it comes to him and Altuve, which kind of surprised me
Yeah,
because Semien was 5.9 and Altuve's 5.1. But like you said, he's on
Altuve's
track for
defense was
the.
awful,
Hmm. Yeah,
really
that's
bad.
true. And and now that I'm looking at it, he's also on his way to 2,000 hits. He's going to hit that this year. So he's getting those milestones, which he's pushing towards Hall of Fame status.
Yeah.
He is 30. He's going on 33 years old. 8-time All Star though. He's been the number one second baseman for years now, and
Hmm.
it would be kind of disrespectful not to put him on there. But I don't think he's a superstar. All right, let's move on to shortstop though. Shortstop is kind of loaded. Not gonna
This
lie.
was hard.
Hmm.
I think one of my guys who I left off honorable mention, a lot of people put in, but really hasn't performed that great since being in the league. And one of my honorable mentions is Wander Franco. I think a lot of people have him in there.
Hmm.
And then another guy you got to give some love for a great season, which you may have him in there. I don't know. Willie Adames. He had a really good year last
Hmm.
year, but that was kind of
Tons of
his
power.
one good year. Yeah, lots of power. Got that great on base percentage of 298. So yeah, he did not make it. But speaking of low on base percentage, Jeremy Pena is my number
Hmm.
10, and he had a lower on base percentage of 289. I was telling AJ before, I thought he started off the year really good. I thought his stats were
Hmm.
gonna be pretty good. Yeah, his offense stats were not great.
Yeah.
um, yeah, 253 batting average, 289 on base, 22 homers, 3 RBIs. Yeah, that's great. He won the Gold Glove, which is good. Like his defense is really good. He had a 4.8 WAR. Um, his defense runs saved 15, so that's really good. Had like a 2.5 defensive WAR. Um, but yeah, I think he's gonna improve. Like that, he was a rookie of the did he win rookie of the year? No, he was fifth in rookie of the year voting. Wow. I guess Julio
Which
Rodriguez, a lot of other
I was
people.
gonna say, you got Julio, you got Adley, you got Bobby Witt, you got Stephen Kwan. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he was my number 10.
Jeremy Pena was my number 10 as well. And like you said, at 289 on base percentage is the one thing that keeps sticking out to me that he's got to improve. But as a rookie winning World Series MVP, did he win ALCS MVP as well?
Maybe.
I thought he
Not
won
sure.
both. I could be wrong on that. But like you said, Gold Glove, and yes, he's a drop off from Carlos Correa, but it's kind of like the same style of player that I
Yeah.
think he could. That
But Correa
that
is a way better hitter.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. But Jeremy Pena, he is 25, which is kind of older for a rookie last year. But I think as a World Series MVP, you kind of got to put him on the list, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we agree to start off the shortstops here.
Yeah. So my number 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably your favorite player of all time, Tim Anderson. Uh,
Yeah.
he played 79 games. He was an all-star. Batted 301, 339 on base. Still got that over 300 average. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. He was hurt last year. He didn't really play that much. He played 120 games in 2021, but still missed like third up like 40-ish. So um, the White Sox need him to be healthy to like they need their team just to be healthy to have a chance to get to the postseason. I hope he gets back because he's kind of fun to watch. He's super emotional and just like guys who hit good.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sure
my
you have him
guy,
like
man.
2.
No, I had him 2 last year. Remember that? No, I don't have him that high this year. He's not healthy enough for me. He
No.
needs to be healthy. My number 9 is a guy that I was kind of you and I disagreed with. I kind of was okay with the Cardinals getting him. You didn't want him, which was Dansby Swanson with the Cubs now. Had a career year last year, and you had made the point he's really going to get paid big after that 1 year, and then he might
Mm-hmm.
regress a little bit. That year was really good though. 277, 25 homers, 96 RBIs. Won the Gold Glove, was 12th in MVP, was an All Star. Played every single game for the Braves. One of those mainstays in the lineup during their successful years. Now as a Cub, I'm putting him in the top 10. Not only overall do I think he's top 10. Sad to say it, hitter friendly. I think he's going to have a
Mm-hmm.
pretty successful year there in Chicago. But yeah, he did have a 5.7 WAR. But like I said, career last year. So we'll see if he regresses. I would think it'd be hard to outdo what he did last year,
Yeah.
but it's Chicago, man. If the ball's flying out, he's gonna hit 30 plus homers.
Yeah. My number 8, no, 7,
Eight.
8 is a
Yeah.
guy who is really good offensively, very bad defensively. Had struggled placing him, and that's Bo Bichette.
Hmm.
uh, really good offensively. Batted 290, 333 on base, 24 homers, 93 RBIs, 11th in MVP voting, but he had negative 16 defensive runs saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not great defensively. If he improves that, he could be one of the best in the league. And he had a 3.6 WAR in 159 games, and he hit that good. So I feel like he should have better.
My number 8 is my guy. It's my guy, Tim Anderson. And like I said, it's just health for me. The dude's got to stay healthy. And that's why I have him so low again. I had him number 2 in all of baseball last year.
Mm,
Or 8. He's not healthy, but that dude always bats over 300.
yeah,
And defensively also kind of a liability, probably one of the worst on the list here defensively, which kind of surprised me because he's a freak athlete. So that's kind of surprised me. But no, Tim Anderson's my number 8. And I'm not a Chicago fan by any means, but I'm definitely cheering on my man Tim.
yeah. My number 7 is Kaylee's favorite player, Tommy Edman.
I knew what you were gonna say before you said it.
uh, just been super consistent the last 2 years offensively. Nothing like spectacular. He's been pretty like slightly above average. Like 265 batting average, 13 home runs, career high, 57 RBIs, super durable too. And he had 32 stolen bases, which was one of the tops in all of baseball. Um, Yeah, super like solid for second baseman. I'm not second baseman, shortstop now. And he had a 2.9 defense WAR, which is really good. And he had, let me find it, 12 defensive runs saved, which is extremely good. He had a 6.4 WAR, which is higher than almost every single person on here. Yes. Higher than Swanson, Seager, all other people I mentioned, Lindor, Correa, Bogarts. Oh, so he actually has the most WAR out of all shortstops. So that's kind of. Yeah. Yeah, so he's the best. But yeah, hopefully Tommy can have a good year next year. If he has the same years he had last year, I'd be super happy with that. I think he can win the Gold Glove. Yeah, he deserves it. And his 12 defense run saves was at second base, but he had 7 at shortstop in 80 games. He's just so good, and I think he's going to be a stud for us. And his WRC plus is 108, not spectacular, but as I said, his WAR is the best out of every shortstop that we were talking about. And AJ, I know you cut out, but I talked the whole time, so you can keep going.
No, yeah, I got you. I appreciate it. No, yeah. So, I actually, this is gonna like probably rub you the wrong way. I left Tommy off the top 10.
Hey, AJ left him off the top 10.
I won't be to AJ's wedding anytime soon.
Ki-
If he gets it that far in.
Did you hear what Kayla said?
She
said she will not be going to your wedding unless you put him on the top 10.
All right. All right. So yeah, my we're on 7, right? It's 7.
Yeah.
My number 7 is Wander Franco. The reason I left Tommy off is because I'm basing it again off what I think's going to happen, and I'm believing the hype. This is the year Wander Franco goes crazy for Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
and I know he hasn't really put it together a whole season yet. He's been hurt, either dealing with injury or inconsistent. He's what is he, 23, 24? He's still so young,
Yeah.
so young. So yeah, I'm believing the hype this year. Wander Franco is going to pop off.
So my 6, I wanted to put Tommy Edman above him, but this guy played better offensively and won the Gold Glove, and that was Dansby Swanson. I really wanted to put Tommy Edman above, but Dansby had a career year. You got to give him a little credit.
That's unlike you. You're swallowing the pride there.
Yeah. Played 162 games, had 25 homers, 96 RBIs, batted 277, 329 on base. Like he was better offensively than Tommy, but I still think Edmonds way better defensively. Even though Dansby had probably his best defensive season, obviously won the Gold Glove, had 9 defense runs saved, less than Tommy Edman, but that's besides the point. He had 9 defense runs saved and playing 161 games at short. Tommy Edman had 8 playing 80. So who's the really the better defender? Tommy Edman, as Kelly says. So yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll throw him this one, but yeah, he won't be 6 next year.
My number 6 is Francisco Lindor, Mr. Smile, there in New York on the biggest stage over there in New York. 26 homers, batting 270 last year, 5.4 WAR. He only missed 1 game last year, and low key, I feel like he's kind of underachieved these last 3-4 years. Like from where, well, I guess what I thought his direction was going as like a superstar. I think we had that conversation. We were kind of confused if he was going to be a superstar or not, kind of like in that gray area there. But when it comes to like you said, personality, he's up there with like one of the most personable people in baseball. Loves to play the game. He's got good speed, plus defender. He was 9th in the MVP voting last year. He's won 2 Gold Gloves already. So yeah, I had to put him number 6. I got a surprise at number 5 a little bit low key, but
My number 5 maybe this is your surprise. I don't know. It's not a guy who I really like that much, but I think he's gonna have a really good year because the shift is getting banned, and that is Corey Seager. Um, hit 33 homers, 83 RBIs, batted 245, 317 on base. Another guy, I think he'll play better once, like the second year in Texas. He played 151 games, but I think the shift going away is going to help him so much. And he played a full season, which for him is good because he always gets hurt. But he had a 4 WAR, not amazing. His defense was okay. -3 defense run saved, not the best defender, but his offense is really good. And he had a 117 WRC plus, so not super high, but I think it's going to go higher once the shift is banned for sure. And in Texas, he can just, it's a great place to hit. So I think he's going to have a great year.
You're doing a phenomenal job holding it down with my technical difficulties over here. My number 5 is Bo Bichette. That was my surprise, and I just think he's always been able to hit consistently. I think this year is going to be a year where he pops off even more. He's growing. He a 3 or 4 year contract recently extension with Toronto, so that's going to add some.
Yeah, you're frozen. But continue.
You know, so I was just saying, Bo Bichette's my number 5. I think defensively more than anything, I think he's going to improve. He's such a good athlete that I don't see him being that poor defensively for that long. I do apologize for everybody for my technical difficulties, having some Wi-Fi problems over here. On to our top 4, though.
My number 4 is Francisco Lindor. I think he's kind of starting to play like he did in his years in Cleveland. Top 10 MVP voting, 26 bombs, 107 RBIs, the most in his career, 270 average, 339 on base, 16 stolen bases, not too shabby. Played 161 games, super reliable, durable, and his defense was solid, I believe. He had -3 defense runs saved, but that's kind of not in character because he had plus positive defense runs saved all the years before. So I think he's going to play better. He had a 5.4 WAR. I wish he wasn't on the Mets because I always kind of liked Francisco Lindor, but I think he's going to have a great year. Unfortunately, the one category that he hasn't done as well in the past years is doubles. He only had 25 doubles but when he was with Cleveland in his heyday, he had like 40 plus doubles in 3 straight years, which is really good. But yeah, I think he's gonna have a solid year. You're back.
Struggling, bro. I'm just hanging on for dear life here.
What's your 4?
My number 4 is Corey Seager, and you mentioned him already, so I'm not going to waste our Wi-Fi time here. And but he has so much power. He's smooth defensively, and I think he's also in his second year there in Texas, coming up here, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a really good middle infield when they're right, and Semien and Seager. And he's been on the biggest stages with the Dodgers. I think he's going to continue to be successful with the Rangers moving forward.
My number 3 is Carlos Correa. Had a down year for his standards last year, but it was a pretty good year. 291 batting average, 22 homers, 64 RBIs. Played 136 games. 5.4 WAR. Like super consistent since he's been in the league. He almost always hits over 20 homers, and great defender. He had 3 defense runs saved, which is kind of low for him because the year before he had 20 and won the Gold Glove. But he's just so consistent, and I think he's going to be playing better. I don't know what that injury thing, weird thing was going on, so I'm assuming he's going to be fine. But we'll see. And I think he's just going to have another solid year like he always does.
Yeah. My number 3 is Xander Bogaerts, not known especially for the defensive side of the ball, but on offensive side, almost. I mean, he got a big contract, so obviously he's respected. But I almost feel like he's not talked about enough. Just so consistent over his 8 or 9 years here. It's just been extremely consistent. I remember him popping on the scene in the 2013 World Series against us here in St. Louis. But no, Xander Bogaerts is my number 3. He's going to be the number 1 shortstop over there in San Diego. That's why we don't have Tatis on our list. I guess one of us should have mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah.
He will be on our outfield list if he makes it. We'll see. I feel like he has to be on some list, but
no,
Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts is my number 3.
Sorry. If anyone didn't know, we're filming on Monday night, which is the Bachelor night. So Kaylee just realized the Bachelor's on, so she's pretty excited right now. It's on ABC. So my number 2 is Xander Bogaerts. As you're saying, super consistent. 307 batting average, 377 OBP, top 10 MVP voting, 15 homers, 73 RBIs. He's putting like a super good career together. Like one of the better shortstops. And you're saying his defense wasn't amazing, but last year was his best defensive season, actually. He had 4 defense runs saved. Every other year before that, he had negative. So he improved. I don't know if his defense will continue to improve as he's getting older, but we know one thing: he can hit really, really good. And I wish it would have been kind of nice if the Cardinals had him, just another guy to hit, but we really didn't need that. Like, we got our guys, but I think he's having another good year.
Sadly, he's in San Diego with all those guys over there. But my number 2 is Carlos. Yeah, with that Carpenter. My number 2 is Carlos Correa of, I guess, the Minnesota Twins. No, he's a Twin, but that was a weird little thing these last month or two with Carlos Correa. But he's been so good for several years now, more than several years. But he was the number 1 overall pick. Kind of had that hype coming out of the draft, and he's definitely lived up to it. Not a huge Carlos Correa fan myself. I'm sure you agree with me on that, but got it. Like you said, he was your number 3. He's my number 2. Just so consistent, so good on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think we might have the same number 1 here.
Oh, you think so? Trey Turner is my number 1. The newest Philadelphia Philly, which not a fan of that. I do have to mention something about Philadelphia after we do this real quick. But 21 homers, 100 RBIs, most of his career, 27 stolen bases, played 160 games, 11th in MVP voting, All-Star, Silver Slugger, just does it all. Just 5-tool guy. Maybe not the best defensively, but he had -1 defense run save, so like kind of around average, I would say, or maybe 0 is average. I don't know. Yeah, 0 would be average. It's not the greatest defensively, but he is an elite offensive player for sure, and he's gonna have unfortunately a good year in Philadelphia.
And Trey Turner is my number 1 as well, which should not be a shock. He should be everybody's number 1. Like you said, he's almost a 5-tool player, man. I mean, he really is. He's got the power. He's got the average. He's got the speed. He's got, the defense, like you said. I thought the defense would be even better. Maybe I'm just like too hyped up on these athletes, like Bo Bichette, Tim Anderson. Like, I feel like they should automatically
takes more than just being athletic. AJ, come on.
Yeah, it does. It does. But yeah, Trey Turner is my number 1, and I'm hoping he doesn't have a great year in Philly, but I think he will. And that's a loaded lineup. But next episode we'll have what's next episode? Third base and left field.
Yeah.
Go around that way, and then we only got 2 left already.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That went by quick. But thank you guys for listening. I'm sorry for my my technical difficulties throughout the episode. Zach held it down for us whenever I was glitching there. But everybody have a great rest of your week and weekend. Thank you for listening to this long episode. And we should have an interview this week for you on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, everybody have a great week.
See you guys.